Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Marc Márquez's second season on a Ducati is showing a quieter, smarter side of the rider fans know for living on the ragged edge. After the first half of 2025, the numbers are stark. 9 crashes so far, well under the 19 he'd suffered at this point last year, while wins, poles and consistency have turned him into the clear title favorite. The picture isn't just about pace, it's about control. After shoulder surgery and a cautious summer, Maverick Viñales will attempt a measured return at his home race in Barcelona. The KTM Tech3 rider tried to come back too early at Austria, wisely sat out Hungary, and says this weekend is about checking progress rather than chasing results. Pertamina Enduro VR46 have confirmed Franco Morbidelli will remain with the team for 2026. The renewal brings an end to weeks of speculation and gives the Italian rider, who rediscovered form with a Balaton Park sprint podium, stability as the paddock prepares for the final season of the current MotoGP rule set. After a confident comeback at Balaton Park, Jorge Martin arrives in Barcelona intent on turning momentum into progress. The Aprilia rider, still learning the RSGP after switching from Ducati, sees Catalonia as the perfect circuit to keep building his confidence, improve his bike feel and continue the patient adaptation that paid off in Hungary. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. The headline stat is simple and revealing. 9 crashes through 14 rounds versus 19 at the same stage in his first year on the Desmercedes. That drop isn't just luck, it underlines Marquez's improved relationship with the bike and a more measured approach to race weekends. He says the team now knows what I need, and that mutual familiarity has translated into steadier outings. Less crashing plus more points equals a rider who is learning how to win the championship, not just chase glory. The GP25's package has amplified Marquez's strengths while smoothing some of the rough edges that caused spills last year. Ducati's power and stability let him manage races without redlining every lap. Quote from Marquez in Hungary: "I felt very comfortable from the start. I was able to be fluid with the bike, and that's something that can't be denied." Riding a tool that suits you reduces drama, and Marquez is reaping the benefits. Dominance this year isn't a fluke. 10 double weekends from 14, 8 poles and 11 front row starts underline a season built on repeatable performance. Those statistics aren't just impressive, they're championship DNA. Speed gets you headlines, consistency wins titles. Observers, including those who worked with him at Honda, see the same pattern. Marquez is calmer, less reckless, and more strategic. That doesn't mean he's lost aggression, he's simply channeled it. The result: fewer lows and more points. After the summer break he became even more reliable, condensed, calm and focused. The old Marquez would accept a crash as the cost of learning. The new Marquez treats crashes as avoidable expenses. Opponents now face a rider who combines raw speed with racecraft honed by experience and a cooperative team. That mix magnifies Ducati's advantage and complicates rival strategies. If you can beat Marquez at his own game, error-free, economically, you'll need not just pace but precision. With a 175-point cushion over his nearest rival, Marquez can prioritize safe, points-rich weekends. The fewer crashes he has, the fewer zero-point blowouts his rivals can hope to exploit. That strategic posture raises the chance of wrapping the title early, but it doesn't change his core task: keep delivering. When the lead gets this big, small margins matter more than heroics. This season isn't just about Marc Márquez being faster, it's about him being smarter. Ducati has given him a platform that rewards measured riding, and he's responded by turning brilliance into reliability. 9 crashes and a mountain of points later, Marquez looks less like the thrill-seeker who occasionally disappears over the edge and more like a champion managing a race and a season with clinical intent. If he keeps this balance of speed and control, the rest of the field may be racing for second. Vinales injured his left shoulder in German GP qualifying and underwent surgery, with an expected 14 to 16-week recovery. He tried to rush back at the Austrian Grand Prix only 4 weeks after the operation, but the effort proved premature and he withdrew after limited running. "I had 2 more weeks to recover after the Austrian Grand Prix, and that was a real advantage for us." The early comeback showed the rider's eagerness, but also underlined why recovery timelines matter at this level. Balaton Park's tight chicanes and stop-start layout would have placed heavy strain on his recovering shoulder, a key reason Vinales opted out of Hungary. The extra rest and training in the week after the Hungarian round have, he says, significantly helped his condition. Choosing races wisely is often the smartest form of aggression in a long season. Vinales makes clear this will not be a full-throttle return. He and the Tech3 crew will approach Barcelona, session by session, using Friday's morning running as the first hard check of how the shoulder copes on the RC16. "We definitely won't be 100% this weekend, but the goal is to understand our condition on the bike." Smart, conservative targets reduce the chance of a damaging relapse while allowing realistic assessment. Over the last fortnight, Vinales ramped up training intensity and reports steady improvement, not an instant cure, but meaningful progress that convinced him and the team to try Barcelona. That extra work, plus careful monitoring, is central to the plan. Rehab isn't glamorous, but incremental gains are what get riders back on the pace. The Catalan GP is a major motivator. It's Vinales' home round and an ideal occasion to evaluate where he stands physically and mentally in front of local fans. He's excited to be back with the team and to use familiar surroundings for a pragmatic comeback. A supportive home crowd can both lift and calm a rider, helpful when the aim is measured progress rather than immediate glory. Vinales and Tech3 are not promising top results this weekend. The priority is information and stability. If the shoulder responds positively, the team can increase intensity. If not, they'll reassess without risking long-term damage. That clear, conservative strategy is the correct one for a rider returning from surgery mid-season. Maverick Viñales' Barcelona return is pragmatic. He's coming back to learn, not to headline. With cautious targets, extra training under his belt, and the home crowd behind him, this weekend will tell whether he's ready to ramp up or needs more time. And that honest verdict will shape the rest of his 2025 campaign. After a summer of uncertainty over seats and shuffle talk across the paddock, VR46 and Morbidelli have chosen continuity. The one-year extension keeps Morbidelli alongside Fabio Di Giannantonio in the Ducati-supported team for next season. In a market hungry for headline transfers, both team and rider have opted for the sure route: build on what's working, not gamble on an unproven switch. Morbidelli's sprint rostrum at Balaton Park arrived at a crucial moment. It came after a difficult spell, form dips and recovery from a Germany injury, and effectively ended doubts around his future. The podium may have been the spur both sides needed to make the partnership official. Results still talk loudest. A timely top 3 was the simplest negotiating leverage. Morbidelli's announcement stressed personal fit. He praised the team atmosphere and the relationships he's forged in Tavalia. That human element, trust with the crew and management, was as important as on-track performance. "My love for this team is profound. I feel great here and have a stellar relationship with each of its members. It will be a pleasure to race with the Pertamina Enduro VR46 racing team again next year." In a sport where confidence and stability matter, that kind of mutual respect can be a performance multiplier. For VR46, locking Morbidelli secures experience in the garage alongside rising talent Di Giannantonio and preserves continuity as development of Ducati machinery continues. With 2026 the last year before the 850 cubic centimeters regulation shift in 2027, retaining proven riders is a conservative, sensible approach. The team keeps a balanced grid, a solid benchmark rider in Morbidelli plus the Academy pipeline feeding future prospects. Morbidelli's renewal removes one question mark from the transfer market and reduces scramble for available 2026 seats. It also signals that, where possible, teams may prefer to consolidate existing packages rather than reshuffle again ahead of regulatory upheaval. Expect the remaining seat decisions to be more strategic than sensational as teams prepare for the rule change in 2027. Franco Morbidelli's renewal with Pertamina Enduro VR46 gives both rider and team a clear platform heading into 2026, and a reminder that, sometimes, continuity is the fastest route back to the podium. The move stabilizes VR46's rider lineup and keeps Morbidelli in the saddle as he aims to convert recent momentum into consistent results next season. Martin's fourth place at Balaton was more than a result. It was evidence his adaptation process is working. Coming from 16th on the grid to finish inside the top 5 reinforced that the changes Aprilia and Martin are making are heading the right way. I'm starting to feel better on the bike. I think it's a very important race to continue building confidence, get to know the bike better, and continue on our path with the same approach we had at Balaton. Martin's statement. Momentum matters. Martin wants Barcelona to be confirmation, not a one-off. Martin has deliberately lowered result expectations and is instead measuring success by small gains, lap-by-lap confidence, electronics understanding and a steadier qualifying pace. Barcelona's familiarity helps. Fewer unknowns mean more time to focus on fine-tuning. The aim is steady evolution. Refine a repeatable package here and use it as a template for circuits ahead. Catalonia has been a strong venue for Martin in recent seasons and offers characteristics that suit his skill set, flowing corners and opportunities to exploit corner speed. That makes it a helpful testing ground for new setups and riding tweaks. A good weekend here would give Martin both data and belief, vital for a rider still reworking muscle memory after a factory switch. Aprilia bring a full lineup, Marco Bezzecchi pushing for podiums, wildcard Lorenzo Savdori focusing on development, which is useful for comparative feedback. Martin can lean on teammates' pace and the team's track knowledge to accelerate learning. Multiple riders testing solutions on the same weekend speeds up the discovery process. Martin benefits from that shared progress. Martin identified qualifying as his weakest link at Balaton. Barcelona is a chance to close that gap. He's also still dialing in electronics maps on the RSGP, learning how sensitive the machine is to map changes. The weekend's priority is to stabilize those areas. Nail the baseline setup and the race pace usually follows. That's Martin's short-term blueprint. Martin's targets are pragmatic: consolidate feeling, find a sharper single-lap pace in qualifying, and translate that confidence into consistent race performance. The goal is not immediate wins but predictable progress. If Barcelona repeats Balaton's positive signs, Martin's upward trajectory will feel well and truly underway. Barcelona is both familiar ground and a test, familiar enough to be comfortable, technical enough to highlight weaknesses. For Jorge Martin, it's an opportunity to convert one strong comeback into a sustainable rhythm. He's not promising fireworks. He's promising steady work. By keeping Luca Marini, and after Balaton, Honda might be the most dangerous technical stability at a crucial moment. Thanks for watching the ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update versus development rather than the transfer merry-go-round.